Hey, there we go, and it actually worked. All right. Afternoon, everybody who has joined for the first of our 2024 series of CI engineering talks. We're still pulling together the full list, so I don't have a lot that are on the schedule yet, but I anticipate probably being able to release a couple more in the next week or two. But for right now, Brenna was willing to be our first talk of the year, and she was going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and for a lot of other people that participate in SCinet. She's going to be giving an overview of the WINS program in general, and about a little bit about our successes from SC23 and what we have to look forward to for SC25. So Brenna Meade from IU, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jason. Can you hear me, Jason?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Brenna Meade, as Jason mentioned. I'm a network architect for international networks at Indiana University. But most importantly, here today, I am the program director for WINS at Indiana University. So we will today go over what the WINS program is, what we did at SC23, and how to apply for next year. So please feel free to put any questions in the chat or message me individually. There's also a few WINS awardees here on the call, so feel free, ladies, if you want to chime in on any questions that may come up, let us know at the end. So WINS. WINS is Women in IT Networking at Supercomputing. It was originally a multi-year program funded by the NSF. And it was developed to address what's obvious to many of us, the prevalent gender gap that exists in information technology, engineering, and HPC within our R&E and industry communities. It's a collaborative project managed by UCAR, ESNet, and Indiana University. The pilot program started in 2015 at SC15, and we've had awardees since SC15 all the way up to last year at SC23, and we will be having a cohort for SC24 as well. Something that's new this year, normally the day-to-day management of the WINS program was at University Corporation for Atmospheric Research under Marla Meal. Many of you know her. She has given me her blessing to move the WINS program to Indiana University and has chosen me to be the director of the program going forward. She will still be here assisting me and assisting our WINS awardees. For those of you that know Marla, she's an incredible person in this community, and we are all blessed to know her, and the WINS awardees are especially blessed to be able to work with her through the WINS program. She's been a mentor for me for many years. So I'm very excited to be taking over as program director at Indiana University and running sort of the day-to-day as the program goes on. A little bit about me. I was a WINS awardee in 2018 for SC18. And as I joke often with our cohorts, once you're in the WINS program and once you're in SCinet, it's hard to leave because you meet incredible people and you find a community where you belong. And as I said, I've been there since 18 and no plans to stop anytime soon, and just becoming more and more involved in SCinet and WINS as we go along. So the program has a number of goals. It is essentially a hands-on internship. So we want to expand the skill sets of these individuals that participate in the program, expand their professional network communication skills, including public speaking. We provide technical on-site training for the participants that are helping to build the SCinet network. As an additional plus, we're hoping to increase the diversity in the SCinet pool. Since 2020, the preference actually within the WINS program has been given to applicants that are from historically underrepresented institutions such as MSIs, HSIs, HBCUs, any of those underrepresented population serving institutions. So we also want to raise awareness of the issue of the lack of women in IT. And we also want to gather metrics, so information from surveys, metrics from both the mentors that they are assigned and the participants to get a better idea of gender diversity in the network engineering community, and use this information to build a sustainable program and continue to increase the number of women and the number of other minorities that are joining network engineering, HPC, development, things of that nature that are of use in the SCinet network. So this is the WINS team. As Jason mentioned, he and Marla Meale and Wendy Huntoon started the program in 2015. And Jason and Marla and Wendy continue to be very significant members of the team. Myself and Kate Robinson from ESNet have been the SCinet and ESNet and IU leads for the past couple of years. And then we have Scott Bailey assisting with project management, also working for UCAR. Programs like this, even though it's a small program, needs these type of people that are willing to work and willing to help grow this program. So we are very grateful for all of the members of the team. And I would like to say that it's a majority women team. So I think that's pretty fun as well. What does WINS do? So WINS enables 3 to 8 women, depending on funding, to participate in SCinet, which is the network that facilitates the supercomputing conference each year. So it's a hands-on experience to build an operational and research network from the ground up for the annual supercomputing conference. For those of you that don't know, the SCinet network that runs the supercomputing conference takes 3 weeks to build. So it takes us 3 weeks to build it, 1 week to run it, and 1 day to tear it down. It's an incredibly cutting edge network, and it's an incredibly large network. Last year, we had 6.71 terabits per second into the convention center. And we built that network that facilitated that connectivity. The WINS awardees are selected by a committee of experts that are rigorously reviewed by a selection committee of members of our community. Many of you know the members of the selection committee, and they are all very committed to WINS and continue to be part of the selection committee each year. SCinet provides a professional development opportunity for engineers to work directly with some of the most cutting edge network equipment in the world, and also with some of the best network engineers in R&E and in industry. Over the years, SC has been a very good partner of WINS and continues to support our goal of inclusivity and increasing diversity within SCinet. When Jason and Marla and Wendy started this program, there was less than 10% women in SCinet. Now we're over 25%, closer to 30. So there's a statistical impact that we're having in the amount of women that are participating in SCinet, and also the retention of those women staying in SCinet and staying in R&D and industry. So it's been an incredible journey. The other opportunity that WINS allows is we do professional development activities. So we run an alumni group, and we also send members of the WINS cohort to do presentations or attend conferences such as the Internet to Tech Exchange, Community Exchange, PERC, NRP, things like that. We have also sent a number of our members of our cohorts to the Quilt More Leadership Program, and we will be sending more members of the cohort this year to the More Leadership Program as those applications come out. So not only is it an internship and a 3-week-long hands-on experience where you get to work on this technology and meet amazing people, but we also continue to have events throughout the rest of the year and opportunities for you to grow in other areas of your professional development, such as public speaking, attending conferences, things like that, or leadership programs such as the MORE program. Currently, we are a mixture of we have an NSF travel grant, but we're a mixture of quite a few other industry partners. The WINS management team, as I mentioned, are supported by those organizations listed below, so myself included. Some of our contributors have been Siena, Indiana University, Internet 2, Juniper, Northern Tier Network Consortium, Pacific Northwest Gigapop, and the Quilt. We are always looking for organizations that want to donate to WINS to help support this program and help send some of these awardees to supercomputing. And if you know any organizations or your organization would like to get more involved in funding of WINS or participate in alumni events or leadership programs, things like that, do let me know, because we are looking for new funding opportunities and new partnership opportunities with members of the community and also with industry. So do reach out if you have any desire to talk further about that. We have, obviously, with a program that's been it's our 8th year. And with any program like that, we are going to have challenges. We've learned a lot in the past 8 years. We've broadened the reach of the program. So initially we were looking for women who wanted to grow, early to mid-career women who wanted to grow their technical and network skills. As I said before, we are now focusing on some of those minority serving institutions, underrepresented populations, HBCUs. So we've changed a little bit of our focus, TCUs, to focus on underrepresented populations. Some of the other challenges we've seen are we've had to defer several awardees for personal reasons. We are dealing with women, so we've run into pregnancies and other things that have caused us to have to defer them to another year, and that's been fine. We've had no issues with that. The 2 to 3 weeks away from home can be challenging, especially for, again, young mothers or those of us with children, or just it's quite a time commitment for anyone, especially those with families. It's financially difficult to put. It's a reimbursement program, so it's financially difficult to put 2 weeks of a hotel and flight and things like that on your credit card. So we've come up with new systems that aren't reimbursement based to accommodate people that cannot do that. So that has been a significant challenge we've discovered. Communication style. So communication, as many of you know, varies by age group. I think many of us are anti-email, anti-Slack, it's very difficult to determine what communication style with so many different people is going to be most effective. But I think we've handled most of those challenges. And then obviously some medical impacts, such as COVID. COVID had a very significant impact on the WINS program, especially during 2020 and 21. And we are just now recovering from some of those impacts from COVID. This year we had 7 participants at SC23. We had Alicia Toya, Britt Huff Alicia Toya from HEMES Health and Human Services, Britt Huff from Purdue, Hallie Mole from Bucknell, Ola Gamal from SCinet. She was deferred from SC22. As I mentioned, we've had to defer a few people. Pauline Sawadogo from Clemson, Shannon McKenna from University of California, Davis, and Suzanne Prentice from Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And they all participated on various teams within SCinet. And we have had quite a bit of diversity within teams that these individuals have chosen. These are our most recent cohort at SC23. So we have the 6, we are missing one from this photo, but we have the 6 of them in front of what we call the SCinet NOC, which is all the network equipment there being showcased for SC23. And then we have a few photos of them doing presentations at the SCinet Research Exposition. That was new this year. We had several of our WINS awardees put together presentations that they presented in front of the entirety of the SC23 conference at the research exposition. So that was really amazing, and they got incredible feedback from that. So this is our cohort. The picture on the bottom left there is all of us. So all of the returnees that came this year, we had 19 WINS alumni and awardees this year at supercomputing. So that's all of us, most of us there in the bottom left. Over the years, we've had, this is just a chart of the applicants and finalists over the years. As I said, we started in 2015. For SC22, we actually had 6 of our 13 returning WINS volunteers take on SCinet leadership roles. So there's 2 levels within SCinet. There's team member, and then there's leadership roles. And we've had a really amazing experience with WINS participants returning to SCinet and then taking on leadership roles. And we've had a really dramatic increase in the number of people that have taken on SCinet leadership roles, and we're really proud of our WINS awardees that have done that over the years, myself included. As you can see, we have quite a bit of diversity in the states. We would like to focus a little bit more on some of that southern region. As you can see, Marla's influence has made the applicants fairly heavy in Colorado, and then Wendy, being very heavily involved in the East Coast there, as you can see, has created some lots of applicants from those general regions. But we're trying to expand out to other regions and hit some of those states that we haven't reached yet. So if you have connections in any of these states that we've missed, or ideas about how we could reach out to those applicants, do let me know. We're always looking for new ways to reach people. Again, this is just the same diagram except with the finalists. So these are where all of our finalists over the last 8 years have come from since 2015. They've been a mixture of universities, community colleges, K-12s, DOE labs, research and education networks, not-for-profits, and for-profit organizations. So we do not discriminate based on your organization. We would like anyone who's interested in applying to apply. And if you make it through the selection committee, we're excited to have you be part of the WINS program and come and work on SCinet with us. So we try to keep not only the people that are the awardees that are selected a diverse pool, but also the where they're coming from. So what their job is and what their home institution is, pretty diverse as well. As you can see, we've had a pretty dramatic impact on SCinet. As I said, in 2007, 15 out of the 105 volunteers were women, so that's only 14%. Last year in 2023, we had 51 out of 206, so that's about 25%. And of those 51, 19 of them were from the WINS program. And so that's almost half of the women that are participating in SCinet right now have gone through the WINS program. I would like to say that if you are a woman who's interested in participating in SCinet, but your organization is willing to fund you to participate in SCinet, you do not have to apply for the WINS program. You can just participate in SCinet through your organization and have your organization fund you. The distinction here with the WINS program is that we are funding you because we believe you are applying because your home institution will not fund you to be part of the SCinet experience. And so we just want to clarify, because we've had some miscommunications over the years, that you can be a part of SCinet as a woman without going through the WINS program. But you do not have to be a WINS awardee to be part of SCinet. So that's just a distinction that I want to be clear about. The percentage of women in SCinet leadership has grown from a low of 8% at SC08 to 19% for SC23. That's a pretty dramatic increase. So when I say SCinet leadership, that means team leads or on the management team. And so not just a team member really taking on those leadership roles throughout SCinet. Women from the WINS program assumed SCinet leadership roles starting in 2017, just 2 years after the program began. And we're very proud of that. For SC23, we had 7 WINS awardees in leadership roles, which was incredible. And we had 2 WINS awardees on the management team for SC23. We're very proud of that statistic. And we're also very proud, and Angie hates when I do this, but I'm going to do it all year. Angie Asmus, the SC24 SCinet chair, she is a 2016 WINS awardee, and she's our first awardee to be chair. And we are very proud of her. I will be her technical director for SC24, her right-hand man this year, and we're incredibly excited to support her and watch her be our first WINS awardee to be SCinet chair. So if you're available in Atlanta and want to come visit, come see the NOC, please come and we'll give you a tour and introduce you to Angie. She's an incredible woman. I've known her for almost my entire career in network engineering, and we're just very proud of the person that she is and to be representing us this year at SC24. An interesting statistics, over 25% of all our WINS applicants are from EPSCoR states, which is really important for the NSF and some of the initiatives that the NSF is doing in terms of increasing research and education initiatives within those states. So 27% of all WINS finalists have come from EPSCoR states. So I think we just include this to say that we are trying to reach some of these underrepresented, underfunded areas, regions, organizations, to make sure that we're funding populations that wouldn't normally be able to go or be funded by their home institution. Some of the WINS program has a number of benefits for the participant. Like I said, you use brand new equipment, cutting edge equipment. You meet an incredible team of people. I cannot express the amount of help that the SCinet community has given me in my career, in my day-to-day life, in troubleshooting. The team that you meet in SCinet is incredibly beneficial to you and your career and contacts and anything you want to, any questions you may have as your career develops. You also get to attend the Supercomputing Conference, which is one of the largest conferences on HPC in the entire world, and you get to participate in supporting some of the groundbreaking network research that happens on the show floor. For your home institution, which I think is incredibly important to highlight, why are we sending these individuals to this conference? Why does it matter to the home institution that they spend 3 weeks away from you? What do you as an institution gain from that? The conference, you get to send your people to an incredibly high profile conference. Your individuals, your employees receive hands-on mentoring from industry experts, industry professionals. You get to represent and promote your home institution to the outside world. For those of you that have been to SC, we have a number of ways that we recognize the organizations and institutions that fund and support the volunteers for SCinet, whether that's signage, special. We have a number of ways that we try to give back to those home institutions. Real world exposure to new and different challenges and new and different troubleshooting techniques. You bring back experience and ideas to team members. And I think this is the most important one for all of us. It's just increasing diversity in the networking field as a whole. I think those of us that go to these conferences and look around in a room, we know that we have a diversity issue and that there is work to be done in this area. And it's really important that we continue to progress in these efforts. And I think WINS is a really good example of ways we can do that within our community. I'm not going to read all of these quotes to you, but these are some of our quotes from women who have gone through the program. I'll read a few. Cassie, she found that the experience helped her to understand various networking roles and applications in a collaborative and open environment. That's one of the coolest parts of SC is it's very collaborative. It's very open. Everyone is willing to help you. Kate Robinson, my right-hand woman, she said, it's been great to talk to other people that do the same thing that I do. And it's really, really great to ask questions and learn things without having to Google it or watch a YouTube video. Like I said, the technical experience is incredible, but the people network is what really changes your life. And then just a few more quotes. I won't read them all, but you guys are welcome to read a few of them. One from Nathaniel Mendoza at TAC, the 2022 awardees are continuing the tradition of some of the best and brightest women participating in the WINS program. We do, as I said, with the selection committee is very specific about their criteria, and they are very engaged in how this program and how the selection works. And I think that has really benefited and created some pretty amazing cohorts. I will say this SC23 cohort was one of my favorite that I've worked with, and I've been around since 2018, so I've seen quite a few. And I was really impressed with this year's awardees, and I hope that they come back and have the wonderful experience that I had working with them, working with the SCinet team. So to close out, the WINS SC24 call for participation is out. Applications opened December 4th, 2023, so a couple months ago. They do end 2 weeks from today. So if you have a woman on your team that you think is incredible or could use some professional development experience, or she's new to the community and you want them to get an idea of what this community is about and meet new people, I encourage you to apply for WINS, to have them apply for WINS, or if you have the funding to send them to SCinet, I would also encourage you to send them to SCinet. I cannot express to the community and to the people that I speak to how amazing this community is and how amazed I always am by the willingness of this community to help, to teach you, to mentor you, and to support you through job transitions, negotiations, understanding where your career wants to go, career options. I will just continue to say that the RNE and the SCinet and the SE community is one of the best communities around. And if you have women that could benefit from this community, please have them apply or send them to SCinet or have them come talk to any of us WINS awardees. We would love to talk to you about the program. So this would be the time if you have any questions. Thank you for listening. If you want to learn more information, that's our website, womeninnetworking.net. Or just feel free to reach out. I'm easy to access, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, well, thank you, Brenna. I've allowed anybody to unmute themselves if they want to ask a question, or if you want to raise your hand and I can call on you, or you can continue to use the chat room. While people are thinking through some of questions that they may have, I can get us started with a couple. So you noted that one thing that we're trying to do is focus on underrepresented institutions and areas of the country. From your experience with some of the recent awardees, I know that we've had some from some HBCUs and tribal colleges as well. Any sort of anecdotes you want to relay from some of the experiences that those participants had that may be a fitting example of what they were able to bring back to their home institutions?
Oh, that's a really good question. Actually, we had an awardee last year, Angela, she works for a tribal college in New Mexico, and she was on the fiber team, and she had just gotten quite a bit of money from the federal government during that broadband expenditure to build out last mile fiber for her tribal community. And by working on the fiber team, she met some guys from the University of Utah, UETN, that had been, that are fiber experts, and they ended up spending the next 3, 4, 6 months with her, going over quotes, making sure that she was able to order the right equipment, really supporting her and in making sure that the investment that the government had given her tribe was going to be spent the most effectively. And I thought that was a really cool example of this community coming together and showing how valuable making these connections can be, and how valuable they can be to some of these underrepresented institutions or populations that may not know who to ask or who wants to help or things like that. And I think that was a really incredible example of ways that SCinet can have a really broad impact on the world. And a similar thing happened with Kimball, who was also from Santa Fe Indian School and worked with the tribal communities there. And she did quite a bit of last mile connectivity planning with Learn. And she met all of those individuals from Learn during the WINS program in SC20 and SC19, and was able to build those connections and really use those individuals as resources for her projects. So I think those are two really good examples of not only what you learned at SCinet being useful, but also the community being useful and helpful to you.
All right, thank you, Brenna. We had 2 questions come in from Shafak. I guess the first is more of a comment. This is a great program. However, I think it's near impossible for someone who is the sole caregiver to be away for 3 weeks. Anything you want to comment on that, Brenna, with some of our experiences over the past 10 or so years with people?
I mean, I think we touched on that as being a huge challenge, especially with, statistically, sole providers are often women, and it's something we have not quite solved. We try to accommodate best. We don't make you go to all 3 weeks if you can't do that. We are very flexible in terms of how much time you can spend. We had an individual this year go home a couple times, ended up bringing her son to the conference. So we try our best to accommodate some of that. I mean, it's challenging, right? I mean, we cannot, as a program currently, fund childcare for your child, and there's many mothers that don't want to do that, and there's a lot of things when you're dealing with sole providers of a family and women in general that makes this challenging. But we do try to accommodate, assuming that's communicated to us, we do try to accommodate as best we can to assist, whether that's changing the schedule or this year we had someone it's not a child, but she had a dog. And so we accommodated her driving out instead of flying, and she had her dog here with us during SC23. So we do try to accommodate any of those challenges, and we are open to any suggestions that you all as a community may have for some of those challenges. We are, we're trying to solve those as they come up, and we're not experts. So any ideas anyone may have would be wonderful.
So I think an idea here would be to maybe have something that extends beyond having that physical presence and experience, although I know that's kind of one of the main benefits, but the other main benefit obviously is the networking and the connections. And just like you mentioned, so many examples of people that were able to leverage and lean on the support from the experts to help them with their ongoing projects. I think maybe that is what needs to be as an extension that may, make it easier for those that cannot do that commitment. Anyway, just a suggestion.
Yeah, like maybe some remote options or something, something like that, or I could see that there's some room we could make there.
I mean, a way for those that can then participate more from the networking option, right? Like, yeah, some remote virtual way for them to benefit from building connections as well without having to,
Yeah, that's a challenge, but I think it's a really important thing that we need to consider.
And I can throw in one other piece of information here, and this is not unique to SCinet, but it is something that the conference as a whole has been trying to do, I think, over the past couple of years, is they've started providing a childcare room. So it is a way for a mother or a father or any parent really to bring a child to the conference and know that they are at least being looked after for a portion of the day. So that's not the answer, it's a part of the answer, but things like that do help a little bit with allowing people to attend the conference or participate in the conference in some volunteer way. So we had one other question from Cynthia, who was asking about what kind of hardware is available for use at SCinet. And Kimberly and Debbie gave great answers, giving a listing of all the things that we do work on a regular basis. But I will pose it to Brenna as the incoming technical director if you want to talk a little bit about the mixture of all of the software services and hardware that SCinet offers.
Yeah, I think one of the keys of SCinet, which I didn't touch on here in this presentation, I wanted to be WINS focused, is SCinet is really trying to be a large interoperability test in a sense. And so we're essentially vendor agnostic. Well, that's what I like to say. We try to include all vendors that are willing to donate to us. So if whether that's Palo Alto, Security Gear, Ciena, Nokia, we will use equipment that's donated to us, and we're hoping that it's new equipment, it's cutting edge gear. But SCinet, the ultimate goal of SCinet is to have these vendors, these contributors, as we call them, work together to show the community that maybe a Ciena can work with a Cisco, or a Nokia and a Juniper do get along. And we are not in the business of showcasing any specific vendor. It's very diverse in terms of the technology that's available to the volunteers. And I think Kim and Debbie, who are all, by the way, WINS awardees and here supporting us today, answered it correct. We have, Cisco, Juniper, Arista, Aruba, Nokia, Ciena. We're looking at some additional contributors this year. We also have contributions from universities. We've had universities donate test equipment, like 400 gig testers, 100 gig testers. We've had universities donate gear such as servers, or TAC donates quite a bit of equipment. So it's all donation based. That's key. And really what we work with is what the contributors are willing to give us. But we are not we don't have a specific contributor. We want to work with everybody. And we want these women participating in WINS and those volunteers participating in SCinet to get experience across the board with all of that equipment, not just one.
Great, thanks, Brenna. I'll ask again if anybody has any other questions and you want to ask them in the chat or speak out loud, certainly do so. I got one more that I can ask while we're waiting for others to chime in. So this program has been running since 2015, so we're approaching sort of a 10-year mark. What do we want to call success in this area, Brenna? What are you looking to see in terms of percentages of leadership or SCinet or just any other sort of thing that we can track and measure and show that we're having an impact on the community?
I think that's a good question. I think for me, one of my goals percentage-wise would be above 35% women participating in SCinet. I think 25% is great, but I think there's room to grow there. The closer to, most of us know there's more women in this world than men. And so I would like to get closer to that 35, 40%. But what I really want to see is the women who go through this program, the awardees, giving back to their communities, giving back to the women around them. Creating, for me, success, I think, is creating a community of women that can rely on each other. I always have been really inspired by Wendy and Marla. They have this friendship that's lasted 40 years in network engineering. And, they're able to collaborate and argue and really be like a support system for each other as women in this industry. And I think that what wins the ultimate goal for me in terms of success is to create a place where women have a community within IT and within network engineering to go to for questions, for support, for advice, for career development. And so I think for me, measures of success is the happiness of the women, or the growth, or the ability of these women to maybe step out of their comfort zone, or get a new job, or work with a new community, or find their place in a community. And so the statistics are great. I would like to start targeting more underrepresented populations, increase that number of women. But for me, success is the experience, success is the connections, success is the network.
All right. Doesn't look like we have any more questions, but I'll pause one last time in case anybody wants to raise your hand or ask your question. And I will thank Brenna again for going through all of this. We'll make sure that the slides and the video are posted after we complete. As I said earlier, we don't have any others that are scheduled yet, but I'll send around an email soon when we do. And just a call out to anybody who's still listening. Please try to get volunteers from either yourselves or from your home institutions or your customer sites, whatever the case may be, because we do want to keep doing this as much as we possibly can, but we gotta have willing participants to help us out with that.
And it's not
All
so
right.
bad.
It's not so bad. That's the best positive comment I've ever had about this series. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope you all have a good rest of your week and weekend. And I'll send around the notes and the slides, and we'll tell you when the next one will be very soon. Bye, all.